Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Happy Monday. In our top story, it's a major energy project that would have lasted 25 years and would have added several megawatts to the Water and Power Authority's grid. But during WAPA's latest board meeting, members decided to scrap their agreement with Tabar Energy, mainly due to Tabar's funding issues. News 2's April Knight has that story.
The Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority has scrapped its bioenergy agreement with Tabar Energy. The Tabar agreement involved growing giant king grass on St. Croix, which will be used to generate bioenergy to supplement WAPA. Tabar was contracted to deliver 7 megawatts of continuous power to the authority.
The Water and Power Authority made its decision to terminate both the power purchase agreement and the interconnection agreement with Tabar because they were unable to show evidence that they had secured financing for the project.
The original agreement was in 2013 with the approval of the Public Services Commission. In August of this year, the Water and Power Authority gave Tabar a chance to fix some faults, but that didn't work out. Eventually, it was down to Tabar's failure to find funding for the project.
And none of those defaults had been cured satisfactorily to the Water and Power Authority, primarily though the financing of the project.
But with the Tabar Energy Agreement effective since 2013, one question for WAPA is, why did it take 3 years for the WAPA board to finally decide to pull the plug?
I think every opportunity had been afforded the company to secure its financing. You know, conversations were held regularly between the Water and Power Authority and Tabar regarding the status of the two agreements, both the power purchase agreement and the interconnection agreement. And I believe WAPA afforded every opportunity, including in the most recent 30 to 45-day opportunity to cure the defaults, and finally a decision was made.
WAPA's Communication Director Jean Grieux said he cannot comment on any development or progress by Tabar between 2013 and the recent agreement termination. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Meanwhile, public meetings are being held by WAPA to provide an overview of an integrated resource plan, which, when adopted, will guide the public utility in planning the future of its power generation. The plan resulted from a study conducted by WAPA consultant Black & Veatch after 2 rounds of public meetings and sessions with community stakeholders, a process that began in 2015. WAPA also has meetings scheduled with stakeholders in the public and private sectors. The meetings are scheduled at 6 p.m. This evening was the first one at CHS Auditorium. Tuesday, October 25th, it's the Cleon-Criqui Legislative Conference Room on St. John, and then Wednesday, October 26th at the Curriculum Center on St. Croix, all at 6 p.m. The Senate Rules and Judiciary Committee met today on St. Thomas to consider a few nominations. They approved the following: the renomination of Stephen Van Beverhout to the post of Inspector General, and the nominations of Noreen Michael and George Blackall to the Housing Authority Board. Here are a couple of the nominees' visions for the offices they would hold.
I stand ready to invest the time, cooperative spirit, patience, energy, integrity, courage, and the sense of fairness and justice needed to be an effective board member.
It is too easy to sit on the sidelines and complain that somebody else should try to solve the problem that exists in the community. So I decided to answer the call and do what is really needed. That is being a volunteer to be a part of the solution.
Turning to crime reports, police say on October 22nd, 21-year-old Amid Williams was arrested on an outstanding warrant issued by a Superior Court magistrate. He was wanted for robbery first, assault third, discharging or aiming a firearm, carrying or using a dangerous weapon, unauthorized possession of a firearm, possession of ammunition, reckless endangerment first. Now, Williams was considered armed and dangerous. Amid Williams' warrant also stems from a robbery in connection with a shooting that occurred in the vicinity of Glynn by the basketball court. Customs and Border Protection officers identified 2 individuals wanted by local authorities during separate incidents. On October 16, CBP officers at the Cyril Lee King Airport, St. Thomas, identified an individual boarding a flight to Miami with final destination New Orleans. They noticed he had an outstanding warrant for his arrest on charges of harassing, communication, and stalking. CBP alerted law enforcement in New Orleans, who proceeded to arrest the individual upon his arrival. On October 19th, CBP officers in St. Croix interviewed a passenger boarding a flight with final destination Atlanta, Georgia. System checks revealed he had an active warrant from the magistrate of the Superior Court of the Virgin Islands on robbery charges. The VIPD was contacted. On Saturday, October 22nd, a citizen called 911 emergency call center and reported a badly burnt vehicle in the Fortuna area vicinity of Stumpy Bay. Upon responding officers' arrival, contact was made with the severely burnt vehicle that was discovered to be a reported stolen Jeep Wrangler rental. Upon closer inspection of the interior, responding officers discovered a charred human body. The identity of the individual could not be readily determined due to the condition of the vehicle and the human remains. This case is currently still under active investigation by the Criminal Investigation Bureau. Please call any of those numbers there if you can assist in this case. On October 22nd, officers were dispatched via 911 emergency call center to an assault in the Mount Pleasant area near Plaza Extra West. Officers made contact with a male individual who was lying on the sidewalk. He told officers that he was walking on the sidewalk traveling north into Grove Place when he observed a vehicle that stopped in the roadway, and an unknown male individual exited the vehicle and stabbed him with an unknown object. The victim stated that the individual jumped back into the vehicle and sped off. He sustained a puncture to his abdominal area and was transported to the Wanlowi Hospital. On October 21st, at 11:08 p.m., concerned citizens called the 911 call center who observed a vehicle with a male individual traveling in Mid-Island area. Here's more.
Officers received a vehicle description. Upon observation of the vehicle, responding units, including K-9 officers, followed the vehicle, and during that time, the vehicle collided into a parked vehicle. The officers conducted a search and found 2 firearms, extended magazines. 22-year-old Rakeem E. Messer of Christiansted was arrested at 11:30 p.m. after being found in possession of unlicensed firearms during a traffic stop. Also, 24-year-old Jacine J. Simmons of Fredericksted was also arrested for possession of an unlicensed firearm during a traffic stop.
The legislature approved a bill to keep the VI Supreme Court running after Thursday when the 3 sitting justices' terms expire. Bill number 31-0479 amends a section of the VI Code. Senators voted to approve the measure and forward it to Governor Mapp for consideration. The 3 sitting VI Supreme Court justices are Chief Justice Reese Hodge, Associate Justice Maria Cabret, and Associate Justice Ive Arlington Swan. The trio were nominated by Governor Charles Turnbull on July 19, 2006, as the first justices of the newly formed Supreme Court of the VI. They were confirmed on October 27th to 10-year terms, which expire on Thursday. Police officers were searching cars and boat for escaped prisoners on Sunday in Haiti after recapturing at least a dozen of the 172 inmates who overpowered guards and fled from a lockup in Central area. The prison's director said the prison break occurred Saturday in a coastal town about 30 miles north of Haiti's capital. 1 guard was reported killed and an inmate died following a bad fall while trying to scale a prison wall. Haitian National Police officers set up numerous checkpoints along roads to search vehicles. Small boats and fishing towns around the area were also being checked. Judge Henry Claude Louis Jean said Saturday that the escapees stole an unknown number of weapons, and some exchanged gunfire with police during the chaotic breakout. After the escape, the body of the dead corrections officer was sprawled on the ground and bullet holes marked the prison's main door. Well, the clock is ticking with just over 2 weeks until Election Day. Presidential challengers Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are on the campaign trail, but they're also both prepping their teams for the future. Diane Gallagher has this report from Washington, D.C.
Just 15 days before the United States picks its new president, and voters in some battleground states are already hitting the polls, while Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton roll out their version of the final stretch strategy.
I believe we're actually winning. Now, the press, I believe we're actually...
Despite his claims, Trump is down in national polls, but a new CNN ORC poll shows the race is tightening, with Clinton at 49 and Trump at 44.
I think we're in a dead heat. In some states, we might be a little behind, but as Mr. Trump pointed out, in Ohio, I think we're up. In Iowa, we're up.
Trump did receive his first major newspaper endorsement from the conservative Las Vegas Review-Journal. Still, some consistently red states are now being called toss-ups just 2 weeks out, which may be behind Clinton's new focus.
Emphasizing the importance of electing Democrats down the ballot.
She's not the only one. President Obama is cutting ads for House and Senate Democrats and endorsing 150 state legislative candidates. But even as Democrats slam Republicans for standing by their nominee,
Trump even attacked Kelly Ayotte and called her weak. And Kelly stuck with him.
sources say Clinton is reaching across the aisle, having private conversations with some Republicans as she turns her attention from Trump to transition. Though no one from her camp will talk about it on the record just yet.
I'm a little superstitious about that. I want to focus on what our first task is.
In Washington, I'm Diane Gallagher.
Keeping our eye on the economy, shares of Time Warner fell on Monday today, while shares of AT&T decreased after the announcement of the transaction during the weekend. Lawmakers, media rivals, and politicians, including Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump and Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Kaine, came out against the deal, calling for intense regulatory review of concerns that it could hurt consumers and concentrate too much media influence in one company. Here's a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. According to the numbers there, everything up. The Dow 77, NASDAQ 52, S&P 500 up 10. Coming up on News 2, more breast cancer awareness, plus the Office of Veterans Affairs under Director Patrick Farrell. They're preparing for upcoming Veterans Day celebrations. What you need to know. Welcome back. The Office of Veterans Affairs under Director Patrick Farrell is ironing out wrinkles in its preparation for the upcoming Veterans Day celebrations. But they've encountered a hurdle on one of the new initiatives they're putting together this year. Meanwhile, Director Farrell has details on the Veterans Day events slated for each island. News 2's April Knight has more.
Ahead of the annual Veterans Day observance, the Office of Veterans Affairs is having some trouble convincing Virgin Islanders who've received the Purple Heart to step forward.
We have come to realize that they are one of the most under-recognized group of veterans within not just our territory and community, but nationwide.
This year, for the first time in its history, Veterans Affairs is making a special effort to locate and recognize the brave men and women who've received the Purple Heart. But according to Veterans Affairs Director Patrick Farrell, collecting that data has been challenging to say the least.
Right now, we are still on a manual type database, and we are hopefully in the process of moving to automated, which will make it a lot more easier to collect this type of data.
But the office is not giving up trying to identify as many as it can in time for the Veterans Parades on all three islands. On St. John, a pre-Veterans Day parade will be held on Sunday, November 6th. On the actual Veterans Day, November 11th, celebrations are split between St. Croix and St. Thomas. The Big Island goes first with the parade starting at 9 a.m. and then St. Thomas follows with a 3 p.m. event, also with a parade and a ceremony at Veterans Park. The crowds have been coming out in force in recent years, according to Farrell. This year, they're asking people to wear purple in solidarity and to place purple lights outside their homes.
The week of Veterans Day, which is the 6th to the 11th of November, we'll surely appreciate seeing all those purple lights across the territory between the 6th and 11th in the evening times.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Purple Heart veterans can call the office in their district at one of the following numbers: 340-773-VETS on St. Croix and 340-774-VETS on St. Thomas St. John. Well, today all St. Croix public schools were closed, part of the teacher trainings held. All St. Croix elementary schools were dismissed at 1 p.m. Lunch was served and buses dispatched. Now on Thursday, October 27th, all St. Croix secondary schools, which is junior and high schools, will dismiss at 1 p.m. School sessions are normal on Wednesday, October 26th and Friday, October 28th. The St. Croix Central High School's Social Studies Department will host a congressional and senatorial candidate forum at 8:30 a.m. on Thursday, October 25th in the school's Learning and Media Center. According to VI history teacher and candidate forum committee chairperson Michael Derlin, the activity gives students, faculty, and staff the opportunity to become acquainted with the candidates and their respective platforms. Candidates will make a short presentation and discuss issues that are of priority to them, with specific emphasis on issues related to education and crime control. The candidates' responses will help inform students' decisions at a mock election scheduled at the school on October 26th. Virgin Islands Port Authority will temporarily close the commuter parking lot at the Herman V. Fredericks Marine Terminal in Red Hook to begin construction on the two-level parking garage. The Port Authority will provide paid commuter parking beginning Monday, November 14th at Parcel C Estate Nazareth, Red Hook, the quarter located adjacent to the Ivana Dorcan High School field. Parking rates at the temporary lot will be $1 per hour or $6 per day. Paid shuttle service to the ferry terminal will be available at a cost of $1 per trip. The UVF terminal and barge ramp will remain open during construction. Commuter parking will not be allowed at the UVF terminal during that construction time, expected to be completed by November 2017. We continue breast cancer awareness, and due to circumstances beyond the control of the host, this event, the Charlotte Kimmelman Cancer Institute, the 5th Annual Cancer Survivors Appreciation Day, has been postponed until November 15th. The Survivors Appreciation Day is being held to recognize cancer survivors in our community, to raise awareness of the challenges these survivors face, and most importantly, to celebrate life. Again, it's going to be held on November 15th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the first floor of the Charlotte Kimmelman Cancer Institute. Free services will be provided to cancer survivors, such as manicures, therapeutic massages, facials, haircuts, and styling for men and women, and professional makeovers. You have to register, and to get some more information, you can call them at 340-775-5433. Meanwhile, the Charlotte Kimmelman Cancer Institute is reminding everyone that you can purchase a license plate that will show your support, supporting the cause. Here's more.
Call the Charlotte Kimmelman Cancer Institute. You can ask for a license plate, and we'll pull the number to see if we have that available. The license plate is a rendering of the Charlotte Kimmelman Cancer Institute. It's very, very nice. It goes with most color vehicles, and they're only $40. And all the proceeds stay here at Santa Regional Medical Center and go right back to the Cancer Center.
And speaking of license plates, if you've been contemplating if you should get St. Croix Landmark Society license plates, you should make up your mind before the end of next month. They have until November 25th to submit the final 2016 license plate orders to the manufacturer. Completed forms can be mailed to or brought into the office at Estate WIM Frederickstead, and that's how it looks right there. Child care providers will receive professional development training and workshops planned for them at this year's Best Beginnings Infant and Toddler Conference. The annual conference is being sponsored by the Department of Human Services, Office of Child Care and Regulatory Services. The goal of the conference is to enhance the quality of care provided to infants and toddlers across the territory. This program is guided by rules and regulations set forth by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Again, that's Tuesday, October 25th at the DV Carina Bay Casino and Resort on St. Croix. It continues on Thursday, October 27th at Marriott's Frenchman's Reef on St. Thomas. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast comes your way next.
Well, it was another day where the bulk of the showers stayed off to the north and west of the area. There were a couple of sprinkles around the Virgin Islands out towards the leewards, but over the next few days, trade wind pattern setting back up. That means more of an easterly breeze, and any showers that do cross through the area are only going to last a few minutes at the most. Water vapor imagery shows a huge area of dry air across the Bahamas up towards Bermuda. A little bit of moisture, but again, it is off to our north of Hispaniola, and to the north and east of Puerto Rico as well. Now, that doesn't stop a few pop-up afternoon showers, but it does keep the bulk of the rain away from us. Watch for a shower or two tonight. Temperatures will stay in the upper 70s. Then for tomorrow, St. John gets very close to 90 degrees as usual. A shower or two. Again, that easterly wind becoming more prominent over the next couple of days, although it's not going to be anything excessive. Expecting an easterly breeze at about 10 to 15 knots. Watch for a shower or two near St. Thomas as well. High 89 degrees. Again, any of these showers probably only going to be lasting a few minutes, and they'll be most numerous late in the afternoon. St. Croix only gets to 86 degrees, so a little cooler there. Again, watching for a shower or two throughout the rest of the afternoon. Wave heights on the Atlantic side about 3 to 5 feet. I mentioned that easterly trade wind about 10 to 15 knots. Could get some higher gusts during the second half of the day. Same goes for the Caribbean side. Waves about 2 to 4 feet. No big swells out there, so no small craft concerns. At least not for the day on Tuesday. 5-day forecast has a chance for a daily shower all the way through the end of this week and up into the weekend. But remember, this trade wind pattern tends to favor more sunshine than rain. So even if we do catch a shower or two, it's not going to totally spoil the afternoon. Still looking at some great days here. High temperatures will stay in the upper 80s all the way through Saturday, and your overnight lows will be in the middle to upper 70s. Sandy, back to you.
Thanks for that. Time for our News 2 weather picture there. The opposite of what we experienced. Lots of sunshine there by Sienna Yearwood of Ricardo Richards Elementary School. Sienna, thank you for that, but keep that umbrella handy. And if you'd like to submit your pictures right here on News 2, send it to the address right there on the screen. And be sure to include your name, age, school, and a little brief description. Then tune in to see it right here on News 2. That is all for now. We'd like to thank you for joining us. We will see you next time. Have a wonderful evening.